What you don't understand about inflation. PVC trumpet. All right. So I did a video yesterday. Got a lot of views, actually. It was a good one. Anytime I get over 10,000 views in first day publishing, it's a good video for me. Anyway, I forgot what it was. More positive news on retirement planning. And we kind of beat the horse on inflation, as I do here quite a bit. And I got a lot of some pushback. Josh, you don't understand, my property tax and homeowners went way high and blah, blah, blah. I said, no, dude, I got a house. I get it. Josh, you're discounting property tax and homeowners insurance. Yeah, I get it. I got a house again. I said, but why does property tax and homeowners insurance go up? Well, because the value of your home has gone up. Thus, the insurance company, in my case, the USAA, has more liability because they have more to insure. If my house burns down, it costs them more to make me whole. Thus, they got to charge you a higher premium. I thought property values were sacrosanct for homeowners. We want to maintain or increase our property values. Well, our property values have gone up, which means there's more to insure from a value perspective. That's a bad thing. On top of that, property values go up. That means the property taxes go up with it. Okay, so we can say yes, from a balance sheet or an income statement, that's bad because you have more cash outflow to pay for the insurance and property tax increase. But from a balance sheet, that's a good thing, right? Your net worth has gone up. It's an odd thing to me. But anyway, okay, we'll run with it. But a lot of people are saying, no, but my property tax and homeowners insurance got up 50%, 20%, 30%, 1,000,000%. I'm like, yeah, your inflation hasn't gone up by that much. And let me show you what I'm talking about here. It's not even close. And if you're sitting there thinking, inflation's getting me 50%, like that doesn't make any sense. All right, so here I live in Fulton County, Georgia, where our elections are fair. I voted. My vote counts for Biden, right? You get me, Fannie Willis, She's coming after me, Fannie Willis. The median home in Fulton County, Georgia is 400,000 schmackaroonies. The median property tax is $3,200. I got to put in that, whatever. All right, so the median property, about 80 basis points is what we pay here in Fulton County. The average homeowner's insurance, I had to use average because I couldn't find a median. So the average homeowners, and again, averages always skew to the outliers. Just keep that in mind. I'm not going to talk about that right now, but basically $2,000. So let's say the average person in Fulton County pays about $5,000 a year. It's actually $5,200. I didn't catch that too, but it's going to be roughly the same. Basically about $5,000 a year to maintain their home. That's without mortgage. Mortgage is just property tax and insurance. So you got principal, interest, TI, PD, and we're just doing TI, all right? Taxes and insurance. The median income in Fulton County is about $80,000, the median household income. So what we do is we take $5,000, which is the property tax and homeowners insurance, divide by $80,000, and the cost to maintain this home, sans mortgage and sans condo fees and all that, HOAs, is about 6.3% of our total income. Everybody with me on that? That makes sense, yes. What does BLS assume in their CPI numbers? BLS, they assume about shelters about 35%. Total housing, depending on what version is CPIE, I think I got my book. The total housing they charge you is 47%. For CPIE, which is inflation for the elderly people over 65. Well, if your mortgage is paid off, I'm just showing it right here, at a $5,000 property tax and homeowners insurance, you're only paying 6.3% of your total income. All right, so now let's say we have a 50% increase because, Fannie Willis or whatever that chick's name is, and USA, they just, they go woke and they're like, we got to get Josh because, we don't like the way he looks. You know what I'm saying? We don't like his kind. You know what I mean? So they increased my property tax and my homeowner's insurance by 50%. So now I don't pay $5,000 a year in that. I pay $7,500. All right. I'm still only making $80,000. And again, that'd be silly because we do, if you're on Social Security, there is this thing called a COLA. So if they increase your property tax and homeowners insurance, hard to imagine your income doesn't go up, but we'll just use it to show the worst case scenario. 7,500 schmackaroonies, divide by 80,000 is my income. That means I'm now paying over almost 10% of my total income for property tax and homeowners insurance. That is a 50% increase. Thus, my inflation is 50%, right? No. Why? Because it's actually a $2,500 increase in my cost. $2,500, because you always want to look at the dollar amount when it comes to this, not the percentage, it's the dollar amount. How much more did I spend on my property tax and homeowners insurance? I spent $2,500 more, all right? $2,500 given my total income is only a 3.1% increase. So I've reduced my net cash flow by 3.1% essentially, because now I don't have the extra $2,500 to spend to consume on my own. I can't go see the Braves or something like that because the freaking Fannie Willis and then stupid USA got my $2,500. Again, if we're looking at a balance sheet, it doesn't matter, because what happens is actually on a balance sheet in this regard, my housing value has gone up, my net worth has increased, and the cash flow, an income statement if you would, my cash flow has declined by $2,500. On a balance sheet though, my net worth has gone up because my house is worth more. That's why they increase the property tax and homeowners insurance, for heaven's sake. But anyway, we're not looking at balance sheets, we're just looking at cash flow. So it costs you $2,500 more each and every year than it did last year, which is a 3.1% increase in my expenditures. That's my true inflation right there, 3.1. It's not 50, that's stupid. You don't say 50% of my inflation is 50%. No, you say, what did it cost me more from last year? Well, in this case, it cost me 3.1% more, my total expenditures. I have that much less to spend on myself because of inflation. I did get inflation, no doubt about it, but it's not 50% inflation. Oh, by the way, you think that's going to happen each and every year? A 50% increase each and every year? Of course not. Silly. Come on. So we're going to sit there and we're going to go crazy, scream bloody murder at your old buddy Josh, like, yeah, it must be nice. And you're like, but you're not going to get a 50% increase in homeowners and property tax each and every year. It's just not going to happen, especially a property tax. You know why? Because people get pissed off. They go down the county as freaking rabble rouse. They don't. We don't want an increase in here. Come on. I mean, if it happens one time, maybe twice over the course of a 20-year thing where you get a 50% increase, that stinks, but it's not a perpetual inflation amount. It's just not. Anyway, so what you really need to do is you really need to read my book, Relax and Retire, because I talk about, right here, introducing the reality CPI. Remember, inflation, this is basically the BLS, and I show you part and parcel exactly, chapter and verse, what they say. Inflation should measure the increase in the cost of goods that you consume on a regular basis. Are we consuming on a regular basis a 50% increase in property tax and homeowners insurance? The answer is unequivocally no, you're just not. Given that, I'd recommend using an inflation that I call the reality CPI as opposed to what the BLS says. So here's a BLS CPIE, again, that's for elderly people, 65 and older. They have food and beverage at 12.5% of your total expenditures. So you got $8,000, you're spending 12.5% of food and beverages. 47% of this $80,000 BLS assumes you're using for housing costs. Again, folks, if your mortgage is paid off, even after a 50% increase in taxes and insurance, you're still only spending 9.4. You're not spending 47%. They got you spending 14.5% on transportation. The bulk of that transportation is the buying and the leasing of a newer used vehicle each and every year. It's just not doing that. Again, inflation should measure the increase in the cost of the goods you consume on a regular basis. But Josh, what about rent? What about housing costs? Are you renting? No. Are you buying a new home? No. Even if you are buying a new home, are you selling yours? Yeah. So even though the price of rent has gone up, unless you're actually in the market to rent right now, even if you are a rentor, I can almost guarantee if you're a stable rentor, your landlord loves having you there, they're not going to raise your rents by the same cost as they're going to raise a new guy. They're just not, man. So what happens here is you got, if I want to go rent a house in Fairfax, Virginia, how much does it cost? They'll say, $4,000 a month. Okay. How much did it cost last year? $3,500 a month. So my increase in rent has gone up by $500. That would be the inflation. But stupid. If I was already renting a house in Fairfax, Virginia, and I was paying, let's say, $3,500, did my rent go up by $500 a month? I guarantee it did not, because your landlord likes steady, stable tenants, even if they're not paying the market rent. Market rents are when a new tenant comes in, where you get back to the market rent. Your already established tenants are paying below the market rent, a hell of a lot more often than not. I talk to landlords all the time. Their biggest asset on their tenants is that the stable income they have, even if it's not charging a market rent. Happens all the time. They're never going to go to your home each and every year and say, we got to raise it to the market price. It'll never happen because you'd move out in 2 seconds flat. On a home, well, Josh, no one can afford a home. Are you trying to buy a home right now? No. So why does it matter what the price of homes are going for today if you're in your home right now? It has no effect on your inflation, because inflation should measure the goods the increase in the cost of the goods you consume on a regular basis. You're not consuming a new home on a regular basis. You're not consuming a rent on the regular basis. You're not consuming a new car on a regular basis. None of this should be part of your inflation. So what I do in my reality CPI, instead of using the BLS silly numbers, I say, what are you actually spending your money on in retirement? Okay, $80,000. I guarantee the bulk of a significant proportion of your spending is going to food, 100%. So I say basically about 23% of your expenditures are going to food once they're in retirement, where BLS says about half that. I don't believe that at all. I say about 20% of your costs on housing are going, on your expenditures are going to housing in retirement. And that even might be on the high end, but I still like to say it, where BLS says almost 50%. All right. Now I say you're going to spend about 21% of your costs on medical costs. So we're spending 20%, actually 21.4% specifically, of our expenditures are going to medical costs, where BLS says about half of that. All right, so I use a lot more medical cost expense and a lot more recreation, about double what BLS says for recreation as well. Because I think in your retirement, you're not going to eat more necessarily, but your budget is going to be reduced, so your expenditures go down, but of those remaining expenditures you have, food will take up a bigger portion of it, medical costs will take up a bigger portion of it, recreation will take up a bigger portion of it, apparel will probably drop, transportation is certainly going to drop, and then what's the other one I have here? Housing will certainly drop as well. And you can find that in my Introducing the Reality CPI. It doesn't mean your inflation in of itself is going to be a lot less than what BLS says, but it means it can be contingent on different categories than the BLS says. And I don't think a lot of people get that. I think they say, I got a 50% inflation on my housing. Why? Because the property tax and homeowners insurance went up by $2,500. Okay. What was it before? $5,000. So that's a 50% inflation. When it comes to the actual expenditures you have, it wasn't a 50% increase. It was a 3.1% increase. A whole different story. And that increase is probably not going to happen anytime soon again. Come on. Let's be realistic here. I know, man, it's easy to get all frustrated. We want to get Bo. I get that. I can't stand Bo. They're scumbags of the first order. And many Republicans are too. I get it. But just, if you just look at like Owen Benjamin and his group of the Bears had a big festival in the Texas County Ozarks yesterday, or this last weekend. And it's just such a positive environment. No drinking, no drugs, no pornography, kids run around like crazy. Everyone's just being positive, teaching each other how to do stuff. It's called meeting old friends for the first time. And it's all positive. It's like, we can do better. And how are we going to do better? It's going to be like, can you believe what Bo Jiden said? It's like, no, I don't want to do that anymore. You don't want to do that anymore. I want to go out there and start kicking ass and taking names. I don't want you to sit there, look what Bo Jiden's doing. Can you believe what enough. Go out there and make it happen, man. You got the abundance of the good Lord. He's granted you the wonders of living in the United States of America. I mean, where people gripe, I guess okay to gripe. But to sit there and just like, the inflation's killing me. There's nothing I can do. I can go drink my sorrows away. The Richmond, north of Richmond. I'm like, we're Richmond, north of Mexico. Enjoy it. There's never been a better time to live alive than right now. Stop being so negative. Be positive. Say, why am I paying more in property tax? Because my home is worth more, which means I can either sell it and downsize, or I can take a reverse mortgage if I need and draw equity for the rest of my life that I don't have to pay tax on. There's so much positive, even with Bo Jiden in office. Don't be like the freaking Democrats, man, where they're like, Trump and the Nazis are coming. It's so freaking stupid. Don't be like that. Just go out there and freaking make it happen. Make it happen. Bring the pain. And you know how you bring the pain? By laughing and being happy. The evildoers hate laughter. They hate it. laughter, and be happy. It's, oh man, the idea the evildoers say, I got all this money, but I'm still miserable. And then you walk by, you're like, hey, why do I think the Mormons are so great? Because the Mormons are always smiling, dude. Like, hey, what's up, everybody? It's me. I'm a Mormon. I got blonde hair. I got a hot wife. My kids are gorgeous. They're all going to be dentists. Hey, must be nice. Man, just go out there and be happy and make it happen. You want to get back at people. Living large is the best, what do they say? Living large is the best revenge or something like that. Lessons to take to the bank. I love your thoughts. We'll see you.